Hello, distance learners. We're doing two problems from the section of multiplication and division of these suckers because the people in class this afternoon have to go to the board and do one. So we're just going to make sure they don't feel silly. First thing we're going to do is look here at the operator, note that it's division, and we're going to ask ourselves what we've always done with division and fractions. Division is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So the first thing you're going to do when you see that problem up on the board today is you're not going to write it down the way it's up on Mr. Michener's whiteboard because it's division. You're going to choose to flip the second one. So I'm going to give you time to write that down. I'm only going to do two of them, but my first step is to flip the second fraction over and make it a multiplication problem. Division is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. And I'm just going to wait here. You guys let me know when you've done that. And then we're going to attack all four pieces, but I'm going to tell you the order that I would attack them in. So how about Jake? Let me know when you're done. You're done already? You are too? Okay. So what we need to do is to try to figure out what cancels. And you can't cancel things when they're living next to addition or subtraction signs. So it's really tempting to go over here and say, oh, I'm going to cancel these x squareds out. You can't do that. You can only cancel when you have multiplication. Watch this. 2 plus 3 over 3 is 5 over 3. It's not 2. Correct? See what? That's illegal. 2 times 3 over 3 is 6 over 3, which is 2. So you cannot cancel with all these addition and subtraction things in here, and you need to do what's called factoring. You have to factor this guy, you have to factor this guy, and this guy. But two of these are way easier than the other two, and I would do those two first. Which one do you think looks easy? The top left, top right, or bottom right? Bottom left is an easy one. It's a difference of squares, so I don't have to mess with much. I just go like this, and I say, well, I can only, there we go. And yours, bottom left, on your board problem today is going to be a difference of squares. All right, it might just be x squared minus 9, or x squared minus 16, or x squared minus 4. And I would do what Mason just said, and I'd attack that one first. Jackson, you gonna write them down?
Where are these fives coming from?
5 times 5 gives you 25. We're unfoiling or factoring. All right, so we took care of this bottom left one. I'm going to cross it off, don't you? All right, why did Mason say to do that one first? Because it looked easy, and that's exactly, I was hoping you'd say the one I would do first, and you did. The one I would do second is the top right. Okay, so I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to go to the top right. Because the first thing you do whenever you're factoring anything is you ask yourself, can I divide anything out before I start? This one's a no. There's nothing that goes into x squared that also goes into 25. But what goes into x squared that's also living in 5x? X. We're going to factor that out, and we're going to put it, it's kind of like undistributive property. You're going to factor it out. And so dividing it out of both would give you an x. There's your x squared if you were to hop it back in. Plus, when I divide an x out of 5x, I get a 5. By the way, both of these can be checked. I'll check mine up here. If you had this in your Algebra 1 class, you say, oh, I need to distribute x squared plus 5x. Sweet. If you had this one, they just had a test on this in exponential algebra. And when they saw this on their test, they did foiling. Do you remember FOIL? First, x squared, sweet. Outsides and insides cancel. That's why Mason said x minus 5x plus 5. Because you need one subtraction, one addition to get that canceling. And then the last is minus 25. So we took care of the two easy ones. The problem is the other two are pretty complicated. But you're still going to ask yourself, can you take anything out of these three terms before you even start? You can take a 2 out. I would always ask yourself that. The only one on these your answer would be no is this one. It's the only one where you couldn't start it by taking something out. So let's divide a 2 out of everything. You have to write it down. that you're pulling the 2 out, but really you're dividing it. So I'll get an x squared, and then I have the 8 divided by 2, and then I have the 10 divided by 2. All right, and I would go do that on that one. I would think I'm going to go do it on the bottom right as well. What also goes into the bottom right? 2. I'm not crossing this off because I'm not done with it yet, but I'm doing step by step. All right, so this one I'm going to take a 2 out as well, but when I divide a 2 out of 4, I'm going to have a 2x squared, and then minus a 3x, and then minus a 2. Okay, so I'm just going to let you get that written down. Here's the problem. I didn't cross them off because they're not done. There's more work you can do on the top left and the bottom right. I'm going to go pull it down here so you can watch, and this is exactly what my 9th graders just had a test on last week. And they had ones like both of these. And their prompt on the test just said factor, and there were 10 of them. All right? And you have to go back to your 9th grade. How do you factor or unfoil this? And remember, you go like this. And you ask yourself, well, how can I get x squared? And you're like, well, sweet, I don't really have to worry because it's just x times x. Then you go to the end and you ask yourself, well, what multiplies to equal 5? And you kind of go, well, sweet, because there's only one pair of numbers that multiply to equal 5. What are they? What are my numbers that multiply to equal 5?
5 and 1.
5 and 1 is my only choice. Okay, so I know I have to end in a 5 and a 1. Here's the kicker to it. So that's my x squared. I'll have that. I can get the 5 at the end, but do you remember with the 5 and the 1, you have to make sure they add up to the middle term. Yeah, you remember you're factoring from either first semester or last year. You're right. I need the negative on the 5. Do you get why?
Yeah.
So watch if I were to check it. Firsts, x squared, sweet. Outsides are plus 1x. Insides are minus 5x. Oh, those combine. And then my lasts, when I multiply them, are a minus 5. So we're going to go back up here. We're going to do a rewrite. I could split that one into an x minus 5, which is really nice. By the way, I kind of knew there was going to be one of these in there because they want you to factor and cancel. So if things don't cancel, we didn't do it right. So we're going to do a rewrite here. Everybody do a rewrite. All right, I'll write it fast, but I'll wait for you. All right, I'm going to go over here, and that top was done. All right, so I'm going to cross off the ones that were done again. This one was done. This one's done. This one's now done. Okay, the only thing I need to do now is factor or unfoil the bottom right. The 2 still goes right here. All right, this is the hardest one on the bottom right. So you go back up here and you say, well, how can I get a 2? There's only one pair of numbers that give you a 2, so that's nice. Right? What are they? 2 times. I've got to unfoil this.
Oh, it's
factor it. 2 times 1. So I know I have to have a 2x and a 1x. How do I have to end it?
You have to do the
2 and 1. Okay, now I gotta be careful because I have to make sure that when I multiply my outsides and then multiply my insides and combine them, I get a negative 3. So you might go, well, how do I do that? You go play with these numbers. Now, I don't know how you were taught to do that. I teach kids to use their fingertips. And I go like this. I say, can I get a negative 3 out of 4 and 1? And the answer is yes. So I tell them to link them. But I tell them, you know what, though, if you don't mess with the signs, 4 and 1 add up to 5. I want them to add up to negative 3. So which one needs to be negative? The 4 or the 1?
Yeah, the negative 4.
Yeah, which means this one has to be negative. So I need to create a minus 4 on my outsides and a plus 1 on the inside. All right, now what do? I start being a slasher. X minus 5, X minus 5. X plus 1. That was an X minus 5, X plus 5 down here, wasn't it? That one goes with that one. And it looks like that's all. So you start being a mad factor. Now we're going to go do one more, and you're going to talk me through it. And we're gonna this is almost exactly the same as your board review problem. When we're done, we're done. All right? So you're not going to copy that problem down like that. What are you going to do first? You're going to flip the second one as you write it down. So I'm going to go do that while. So when you see that problem Miss Barrios puts up on her smartboard today, and she says do it, you're going to grab and you're going to write these down, and then you're immediately going to go, wait, I need to multiply by the reciprocal. I would go right now and take care of the two easy ones on your own and let me know when you're done. There's two parts of this that are easier than the other two. And by parts, I mean top left, top right, bottom right. There are two pieces that I would do first. If you get stuck on the other two pieces, so will most of the other kids. Well, not most of them, but a lot will. It's pretty common to get stuck on the top left and the bottom right. Are you done with them already, Mason?
No, I am.
Which one do you think looks easiest?
I thought it was the bottom left.
It is.
But I don't know, like the negative and how it works. Yeah.
What times what gives you 16?
4 times 4.
Mm-hmm. It's called the difference of squares.
Oh, we can do it with negative.
Just like when we had x squared minus 25, we did x minus 5, x plus 5. And I have x squared minus 16, which actually I think is on your, I think I didn't change that one. So what is this going to be?
It's going to be x minus 5,
X minus 4 and an x plus 4. Watch me check it. Firsts, x times x. Outsides, 4 times x. Insides, negative 4 times x. Lasts, multiplied equal negative 16. Do you see how these cancel and I get that back?
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice. The differences of squares are, what if there's an x squared minus 9? You're going to say x minus 3, x plus 3.
Yeah.
Where is the next easiest one, Jackson? Top left, top right, or bottom right? Which one looks easiest?
I'm going to assume top right.
Top right. And you're going to ask yourself, what can I pull out of both of those?
An x.
An x. Just like we did on the last one. So actually, that might be the easiest one. I don't know. That's kind of a debate between those two. But I would take care of these two. Now, what happens, Jake, when you divide an x out of each of these?
You get x
Plus
4.
4. Done. Okay, now this is going to cancel with that. You can cancel it right now. If you want anything top that's also living on the bottom will cancel, but I'm going to not cancel till the end. I like to wait till I'm all done. Now, the other two are trickier, but you'll see that all even, all even, all even, all even, all even, all even, right? I can for sure take a 2 out of all of these, right? So I would do that. Let's go. I'm going to take a 2 out above it. It'd be actually, I'll do it right here. It'd be a 2 times, divide out a 2, divide out a 2, divide out a 2. What do you think, Parker, I can take out of all of these?
Yeah.
You might say a 2, but then you'd be at 4x squared, 2x, and a 6, and they're still all even. So actually, what can you take out of 8? That also comes out of 4. That also comes out of 12. 4. Yeah. So we're going to chop a 4 out of each of those. So far, these first 5 steps here are pretty easy. I attacked the bottom left, x minus 4x plus 4. Then Jackson told me I tapped the top right. Jake, you told me what to take out of it. We're good. These were all even, so I took out a 2. These all have a 4. So nothing is hard until right now. But it's hard for everybody. Okay? So the problem is we've got an issue with having to factor this guy and this guy farther. I'm going to do the bottom right because I have space below it, and then I'm going to have you guys try the top left. So over here, there's only one way I can lead these and get a 2x squared, and that's if I choose a 2x and a 1x. There's no other way for me to deal with that. What's the only way I can get a 3? 3 times what?
1.
1. All right. Now I just have to make sure that I pair them so that they add up to 1. So watch what I do with my fingertip. It's all about that middle term. That's the kicker. If I paired these together, I'd have 6. And then with these, I'd have 1. Is there any way to get the number 1 out of a 6 and a 1? I could get a 7. I could get a 5. I could get a negative. There's no way if I pair these two and these two that it's going to work. But watch if I reverse it. How about with a 2 and a 3? Is there any way to get a positive 1 out of those?
Yeah.
Yes, but they can't both be positive. So I give you 5.
That's a 3
And negative 2. There. Once you decide that, here's what you're going to do. You're going to link them. That's how I used to teach it. Just so you know, I did want to do 2 times 3. There's only 2 options, so you just try one pair, and if that doesn't work, you try the other. Right? 1 times 3 is the other one. Now, which one did you say you wanted to be negative, Mason? The 2. So there. Now you might say, well, I don't get that. Well, watch when you unfoil it. You have to have your firsts be 2x and 1x. It's the only way to get 2x squared. You have to have your lasts be a 3 and a 1, but you have to be careful because your 2 has to get paired with a negative 1. Do you see how I have the 2 on the outside? Right? So that means I have to have a negative 1 on the outside. So when I do firsts, outsides, I want to make sure that my outsides don't give me a 6. I don't want to put a 3 there. So you kind of have to do a little trial and error there. But that means this one would be plus 3. All right? You go try the top left. And you're going to have a little more mixing and matching with that 4 there, because you can get a 4 from 4 times 1 or 2 times 2. So you have a lot of trial and error with that one. But I'm going to do a little rewrite here before we quit, so I have time to cancel at the end. So that's x plus 4. I know that was a 2. You guys are going to see if you can break it apart for me. It was a times. And then we broke the bottom apart. And my top was... This is what I know for sure. That's all you can do, at least do that. But I don't know if I'm supposed to end in a 2 and a 2 or a 4 and a 1. That's kind of tricky to decide. Yeah. Scroll a little bit so I can write. There was a 2x squared plus a 7x minus a 4, right? I'm actually going to do this because it's almost time to go. But I said, you don't have to worry here, but you do have to worry over here because it could be 4 and 1 or 2 and 2. So you might have to try more than one thing. But watch, is there any way to get a 7 out of 8 and 1? Yeah, as long as the 1 is negative. So I actually just got lucky that I found it right away.
I didn't feel that.
Right? So, yeah. So, but if I wasn't lucky, then I'd try. You just gotta try. It's not really. So I know I have to do 2x and 1x. But be careful, because I want the 2 to get multiplied by the 4. My 2's on the outside. So I want to make sure my 4 goes on the outside so that when I do first outside, inside, I get that 8 minus 1. All right, this is actually a full 3 weeks of exponential algebra in 20 minutes. Exponential algebra is when they learn this, in its entirety. But now let's go put that back up there. You guys can it was a 2x minus 1 and a plus 4, right? Now that it's all broken apart, you're going to go like this. Do I see an x plus 4 in the bottom? I do. That was an x plus 4. Or what else cancels?
X minus 1. That's 2x.
No, that's a 2x minus 1. There's one other thing that cancels. You see it? The 2 and the 4. I made one that didn't have a lot of canceling on it, but I think the one you actually do it. I took Michener's and I changed some signs, and so it didn't cause as much canceling as the one you're going to have. All right. That's it. So I'm going to repeat. What's your attack when you go to the board today? You're going to write it down as multiplying by the Reciprocal, I would do what Mason said and attack that difference of squares that's going to be sitting down here. Might be x squared minus 25, or x squared minus 9, or x squared minus 16. Then I'd go attack that guy, because like Jackson said, he can take an x out of both of them. That's nice. The other two, a little bit trickier. I'm hungry. I brought a break of lunch today, though. I brought chicken enchiladas and refried beans. Oh, I should stop recording. They don't care what I